Okay, Fresno State week. They're an athletic team. I know they didn't fare very well against the Trojans, but they do have good players. They've certainly got all our attention, all our respect. Needless to say, I mean, they've won, 20-plus games over the last 2 years, or 20 games over the last 2 years. So, and essentially one game away from a BCS last year. So, even though last week was not real competitive for them, we fully realize how good they are, and they're well coached, and they got plenty of good players. So we will need to play our best football. We got them at our place, which is a plus. Had the game on Thursday, which gave our guys a little bit more time to rest and heal up. We'll get back on the field today and start preparing for Fresno State.
Coach, did you feel like the performance against Idaho State was representative of who you guys are as a team overall?
Hopefully not with our run defense. That's the thing that irks me the most and irks us the most is the porous run defense, and I've addressed it. We've addressed it. And other than that, not bad. I thought our offense was explosive, made a lot of plays, one turnover, one too many, but still took pretty good care of the football, made a bunch of first downs, scored a bunch of points. Special teams was solid, made some big plays there. And defensively, against the pass, we were pretty decent. Gave up a few balls, but the real glaring negative from the game was the run defense, and we got to get that fixed. And Fresno actually ran the ball very effectively against SC. They had a back that had just about 100 yards and about 160 yards overall rushing, which against that SC front seven is pretty darn good.
I saw on the latest depth chart today that Dominic Hatfield has been moved up to co-starter with Davion Orfe at corner. Can you talk a little bit about that move?
Yeah, his debut at corner was very good, did a lot of good things. He's going to get his opportunity to start. He's still a two-way player. He's still going to play some receiver as well, but it's been a reversal, whereas up to this point he was primarily a receiver and playing corner secondarily. It's reversed now. He's primarily a corner and playing receiver as a secondary position.
Just given the nature of the game last week and the level of the competition, are there still some unanswered questions that you're hoping to get answered going into this week's game?
Well, like I said, I thought we did a lot of good things, and we're certainly not going to. I almost feel like sometimes the media wants you to apologize for a victory. I mean, a victory is a victory, and we felt pretty good about a lot of things. I don't really believe you get a true perspective until 3 or 4 weeks into the season. I don't think for sure one game can't give you great perspective, and even a couple. And it's not till later into the season, weeks 3, 4, 5, that you really start to find out who you are and what you do well.
Kyle, you talked a little bit about Kaylin Clay. You needed to do a little catch-up because he came in late, but obviously his performance against Idaho State with the returns, and then looks like on the depth chart he's moved up as a starter at receiver. Can you just talk about, has he caught up, or is he still playing catch-up, and the progress he's made since he's been here?
Well, he's made a lot of progress. He's just about caught up, and it was both from a physical and mental standpoint. He didn't get here until right before two-a-day started, so he was starting at square one, where the other new guys with that new rule had a chance to meet twice a week, all summer long. And so he missed out on that, but he certainly made up a lot of ground in the game with the big plays on the returns. Still, his stamina is not where it needs to be. He's still getting that part down, with the altitude and the fast tempo that we're playing at. He was nowhere near ready for that at the very beginning. He's getting closer now. But he's a big play guy. That was very apparent by when he touched the ball Thursday night.
A negative here, -1 in the turnover battle.
Yeah, that was a huge negative, and expressed to the team and the coaching staff, we're going to have a very, very difficult time in the Pac-12 if that trend, it's not a trend, but if that shows up in Pac-12 games, it's tough to win, and we got to get that reversed, and that was an Achilles heel for us last year, and really wasn't the turnovers. One turnover is not excessive, but we got to get takeaways. That's the key. Defense has got to start taking the ball away. Dom Hatfield led his team in interceptions. I think he led the county. He had 10 interceptions as a senior in high school. And so hopefully with him back there more often, that'll give us a chance, with a guy with great ball skills to get the ball out of the air for us. USC was able to intercept Fresno 4 times, which wasn't a difference in the game by any means, but it certainly helped.
Kyle, on that front, were there any missed opportunities when you watched the film as far as takeaways?
Oh, yeah, we had a ball on the ground that we didn't get on, and then I think we dropped an interception or two. And so I shouldn't say drop, but had an opportunity for an interception or two, but we didn't capitalize. And credit Idaho State, they did a nice job taking care of the football. Quarterback did a good job putting the ball in good spots.
All right, and then how about that proverbial question, the improvement between week 1 and week 2?
Well, it's relative. We hope it happens for us, and I'm sure Fresno hope it happens for them. And so we're both going into week 2, so that really is a wash. But I think you're going to see both teams dramatically improve between weeks 1 and 2.
With Devonte Booker's big first week, is there any thought of giving him a little bit more action on the offense?
Sure, yeah, and he will get more carries. Yeah, he was very productive. Was he 7? I think both him and Bubba were over 7 yards a carry. But Devonte really did some good things. He caught that screen pass and took it 50 or 60 yards up the sideline and made some nice runs. And so he definitely will be more of a factor this week.
You guys released offensive line grades, and Junior Salt graded lower than any starting offensive lineman this week. Are you surprised by that? And also, just sort of as a follow-up, what do you expect to get from Iono re-entering the starting lineup this week?
Yeah, who released those grades? Did you release those lists? Did Jim tell you to? Okay, great. I didn't know we do that. That's something I guess I should be aware of, but it's not a big secret, but I think it's something new for us. Junior, good player, playing left guard, which all last couple of years been a right guard, or last year he was a right guard. Not that big a difference. I mean, that's not a tough transition, but Junior's one of our better players, and he's going to be, he's determined. He's disappointed by how we played. And there's no question in my mind that he's going to be, over the long haul, a very good player for us. It's going to be great to get Ciosi at center. He's a guy that had a very good spring and had a good fall camp and didn't play because I wasn't pleased with some things that just between me and him. But he'll be back in the lineup this week.
You've got Kaylin Clay now ahead of Delshawn McClellan in the depth chart. I'm wondering is that because of the pure speed and athleticism you saw on the special teams, or did he really jump ahead of him because of receiver skill?
Both. I think it's a combination. When the ball's in his hand, he's dangerous. And when the ball's in your hands, it's in your hands, whether it's by virtue of a kick or a reception. And so we just want to get him. He proved to us that he's as advertised and very dynamic when he has the football. And so it would be a combination of what he did on special teams as well as at receiver.
Kyle, your first 4 touchdown drives totaled under 4 minutes. Is that what you'd like to see going forward, or would you like to see more ball control and keeping the ball away from the opposing offense?
Well, I think that's indicative of fast-paced offense. When you have fast-paced offense, the drives are going to be quicker. Just by virtue, even a 6-play drive is going to be faster than a 6-play drive with an offense that doesn't run high tempo, just because of the time in the huddle and that type of thing. And so we're really not concerned with the time it takes to get in the end zone. Obviously, longer drives gives your defense a rest, whether it's 6, 8, 10, 12 plays. We want to avoid 3 and outs. The worst thing that can happen to a high tempo offense is 3 and out and get the defense back on the field 45 seconds later. So as long as we can avoid the 3 and outs, we'll take touchdowns just as fast as we can get them. So,
Fresno played a couple of quarterbacks. How are you preparing this week? Both quarterbacks, 1, 2?
For both, they're still listed as or, and neither of them had a whole lot of success throwing the ball against USC. Their numbers weren't, I'm sure indicative of how good of players they are. SC secondary is really active, and the front is tough. So that's a tough matchup for most teams in the country. But we expect to see them both, and we'll prepare accordingly.
What's it like preparing for a game against Dave Schramm and kind of, do you feel like you have a good understanding of his tendencies, or is it just kind of just like any other week?
Pretty much like any other week. He's been gone for a couple of years. We've changed quite a bit defensively over the last couple of years. He's evolved offensively, and so I really don't see that as advantage either way, him knowing us or us knowing him. And so I think that's really a complete non-factor.
Going back to your offensive tempo, how do you think that went against Idaho State? And is that pretty much the tempo you'd like to establish throughout the season? Would you like to go quicker, slower? How does that balance out?
Well, I think that's about right. You're always trying to force the tempo and play as fast as you can, but not at the expense of lack of execution, as I've said many times. And so I think that there is a point of diminishing returns where you try to go too fast. And although we may not be going as fast as ideal, I think we're pushing that envelope and we're very close.
What do you say or what do you do? The players saw the Fresno game and they got blown out to make sure that they respect Fresno and know how dangerous they can be, even though the players saw that game with their own eyes.
Well, first of all, you look what they've accomplished the last 2 years. I realize each year is its own entity and a separate team, and they've lost some players. We've lost some players, but all you got to do is look at the personnel man for man. They've got good players. They've got a safety who's outstanding, a defensive lineman who's very good. The running back, like I said, got 100 yards, or just about 100 yards on USC. So we just go into every game really respecting our opponent and not taking any other approach. And college football, any given Saturday, anything can happen. And last Saturday just wasn't their day against the Trojans.
Just wanted to ask about a couple of guys that made comebacks, just Kenneth Scott and Brian Bleck, and how they looked in their first game after missing a year.
Both look good. You know, Scotty made that acrobatic catch in the end zone for a touchdown. I think he had another catch or two. He blocked it efficiently and did a nice job there. And Scotty, not only what he does on the field with his numbers, but with his attitude, his personality, the aggressiveness and toughness that he brings to the receiver position. So it's great to have him back. And Blecken, really the same thing in the secondary. He's a hard-nosed, tough football player, even though his stat line wasn't real impressive. Now, we only played half. You know, essentially him and Scotty played half a game. But it's great to have them both back. They're both team leaders. Obviously, Brian being voted captain tells you what his peers think of him. And like I said, Scotty really brings a lot of – he's very feisty. He's a feisty kid, tough, hard-nosed kid that attitude and the way he handles himself rubs off on the other receivers around him.
And then what about Travis and Wesley Tonga as well?
Travis, I thought he had a very efficient first half. His numbers were excellent. Put the ball where it needed to be. Made some great runs. That touchdown run where he dove in the end zone, and that shows you right there that he's got no apprehension about running the football. He's completely confident in what he's doing. And Wesley made catch after catch. I mean, he made a bunch of – it was just a half of football again, but he made a bunch of catches. He might have played the first series of the second half, but he's a guy that we think is a very prolific tight end as far as in the throw game. You know, we don't ask him to do a whole lot of blocking at the end of the line of scrimmage. He'll do some wind back blocks and a few things there, but his real value is as a receiving tight end.